Well, hello there, everyone. Bobby D here with the Heart of the Gala podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special edition. Now, this is a presentation that I had given at the Nonprofit Learning Lab about a week ago in Philadelphia, and we were talking about getting your board on board for a successful gala. Now, I get asked all the time about what are the keys to a successful gala and what really makes an impact and affects the results of that gala. And one of the key components is your board members and how engaged they are and how activated they are and how willing they are to be able to help. So take a look at this presentation and let me know what you think. But yes, we go from the front to back, before, during, and after ways that your board member can help to support the success of your fundraising event without writing a check. And they love that. Thanks for listening. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Does everyone have one of our giving cards? Sabrina needs one. All right. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Okay. So I warned everyone, this is probably going to be the most fun presentation, the most energetic presentation. Because we're all about the party, right? It's all about the event. It's all about having fun, putting the FUN in fundraising and raising money, right? So what I love to do before we get started is everyone's got their paddle, right? Their giving paddle. We're going to do what I call a family photo. Okay? Well, I'm actually doing a TikTok thing now, and everybody knows it's like, oh, of course I'm an auctioneer, and everybody at my presentation have to have a paddle. So, all right. Well, of course, we're raising money for nonprofits and teaching them how to raise money. And look at this. Of course, everybody has a paddle at my presentation. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I'm on the Instagrams and the TikToks and all the things anyway. So here we are. All right. So getting your board on board for a successful gala. Show of hands. Who has a Rockstar board? Not everybody. Oh, good. Good. Who thinks their board can help you raise more money? Yes, everyone. Who loves, hello, yeah, we're good. We're all good. Who loves to produce events? Oh, good. My event people are here. That's really good. I love that. Who has ever been to a bad event? Yeah, we all have. It's kind of the ickiness. Who thinks they can raise more money at their event? Everyone, yes, you always can raise more money. And what I love about this particular presentation is it's about raising money at the event, but it's truly about raising money beyond the event, because many people believe that, yes, the event is the event is the event. It's like its own little thing. But no, it's not. It's one of 365 days of actual fundraising. It does become an opportunity to obviously have some fun, create an experience, educate new people and get them involved with your organization, get them to fall in love with you is what it's really about. And it's also for those that have been with you for a long time, or those that have volunteered with you, those that are donors, those who love what you already do. This is a chance to really re-inspire them and recharge them. And it really starts right here with our wonderful board members that are so giving of their most valuable resource, which is time. Because we all talk about the time, the talent, the treasure. I like to add a fourth T to that, which is team, and we're going to talk a little bit about that there. Question, does anyone have any particular question or I need to know about this before we get started? Because I want to make sure that we get going, like the burning question. Okay. Save your questions. Or no, you know what? Just ask. Be like, hey, Bobby, what about this? This is very open. This isn't me talking to you. This is all of us working together. What I love about especially a small kind of room like this, we all get to learn from each other. This is like a group think. Everything that I say is not necessarily right. It's what I think. It's all opinions and experiences that I've had. But there might be some suggestions or questions that you all have. And then there's some people that might have some good feedback for that too. So we're all here to learn together. And even for me too, because I'm like the biggest sponge ever. I just want to learn all as much as I can about fundraising. So this is it. Successful gala, raise more money. This is me. My name is Bobby D. I've been an auctioneer for over 20 years. I am a second-generation auctioneer. My mom, my dad, and my two brothers are auctioneers. I'm married to an auctioneer. Her mother's an auctioneer, and her grandpa was an auctioneer. So this is all we do. We fundraise for nonprofits. I used to be in the auto auction space. I was selling used cars to used car dealers. Where does that put you in the grand scheme of things? And I'm like, yep, wasn't waking up with the warm and fuzzies. But I worked with a lot of nonprofits, and I'm like, okay, I love love this. I want to help change the world. How am I going to do that? And by working with nonprofits, I'm like, oh, okay. The light bulb goes off. I'm like, okay, so I can do what I'm good at and help nonprofits do what they're good at and help them raise more money. And I get to have fun. Plus, I went to Arizona State. They asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I'm like, I want to be the life of the party. And guess what? Careful what you wish for, because now I am. But yes, I founded Call to Auction in 2014, because auction is action with you in it. Bad dad joke, I know. So, but that's what it's all about, creating that auction, creating that action, inviting people to this opportunity that is all about fundraising. And then in 2018, my wife and I, we founded Inspire Hearts Fundraising, and we are the only firm in the entire nation that focuses on special appeal, paddle raise only events. There's a lot of people that love silent auctions, right? Yeah, no, thank you. Tons of time, tons of energy in that. And live auctions, they're for everyone, right? No, they're not, because it's 95% of the room is not going to bid in your live auction. Auctions are exclusive. Auctions are transactional. And yes, there are development opportunities when you can strategically use them, right? But many times, how many people have seen an actual professional auctioneer at your gala or a gala? Two. Okay, who's seen the really annoying board member, the funny uncle, the newscaster, the celebrity, right? We've all seen those, Yeah, and why? Why? You don't get a volunteer to come in and do your catering or your decorations or your sound. I hope you're using a professional, or the venue. Sometimes you're lucky to get a donated venue, but all of those things are there. But there's some expectation where the world was like, no, we need to have a free auctioneer. We don't have a budget for that. Well, guess what? Put it in your budget. You need it because we raise you more money. Yeah, and so then we, again, created Inspire Hearts Fundraising, which is all about at-event philanthropy, growing those relationships at the event and beyond the event is really, truly what it is, and using best practices in that to really set you up for success and try to help guarantee the dollars that you really need to raise for your mission. We also have a podcast. It's called Heart of the Gala podcast. We talk about all things fundraising at galas. We talk about the live auction, the silent auction, the paddle raise, the philosophies, board members. We talk about we talk about everything, and it's very uncensored. So if you're into listening about real stuff, please join us. Oh, there it is. Look at that, Heart of the Gala. It's on all the podcast things and whatnot. Here it is. This is why you're here, because you're passionate about fundraising. You're passionate about making an impact in the world. You could have chosen a different path and worked for those for-profit organizations, and they're all about making money, right? It's for profit, right? But here we are. We made the choice to be a agent for good, someone that's here to make an impact, help change the world for the better. And I always like to use a example of the nice calm pond on an early spring morning, and it's just like glass. And when you throw that little pebble in there, what happens? You get these ripples that go across, right? And those ripples really show, essentially that butterfly effect out into the world, because it's those ripples that radiate from what we do. They radiate from our organization, what the organization does, but it also radiates from your donors too, and how the impact that they want to have from that. So my question is how big of ripples do you want to make? Do you just want to throw a little tiny stone in there? Or do you want to drop a big boulder in there, right? I'm all about the boulder. Let's throw that in there. Let's make big waves. Let's make big impact and make a big deal about this. This is pretty cool. So you are all fundraisers. This is all of our our favorite F word, right? Well, fun, fundraising, and all that. And this scares your board members, right? Because how many times do we have board members that are like, oh, I can't make the ask, or I don't like fundraising, or it makes me feel weird to ask my friends for money, and all of those kinds of things. They're scared of this. It's like, no, don't be scared. We're gonna help to teach them how to fundraise without actually fundraising. Because what is fundraising? It's all about relationships, right? And that's where our board members are able to come in and leverage the relationships that they have to, again, set your event up for success, which then sets up your bottom line for the entire rest of the year when done strategically. or not, because we just kind of throw it at it and hope it works and hope we raise money and whatnot. But now post-pandemic, like, there is no more hopes and dreams. Like, don't take the risk. Like, why would you risk it with anything? Like, do it right, make it happen, make as big an impact as, because with your gala, you only have one night to really impact as many of your guests as possible. So let's just do it right the first time. So I stole this from the internet. Board's job to advance the mission, and you can't do that without resources. You need the resources, fundraising, blah, 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 all the things. But the biggest thing is right here is to build social capital for the organization. It's not just fundraising, it's social capital, which is the biggest thing. I like to call it relationship equity is what we're trying to help build and help to really grow within that. And you have to be a good ambassador for your mission. You're not out there asking money. You're not out there twisting people's arms. You're there to build involvement and relationships around that mission. And if you're not passionate about that, it's okay. Get off the board. Go do something else. Go volunteer and, pick up trash, or go do something else. There's many places where people need volunteers, but if you're going to be on the board, if your board members are there and they made the choice to invest that time, it's like, again, let's do it right. Let's do this purposeful. Let's be strategic in this and be a little uncomfortable, because board members come in and they sit their butt down and tell you their ideas and whatnot, and you're like, okay, well, great, thank you. So what now? We have to take action, right? We have to make change happen. We actually have to do things. And that's a part of what we're going to be doing here with the event, because many times the board just shows up as guests. Or maybe they bring some friends, or maybe they buy a table, and they're just there to hang out and drink and have a good time. So maybe they give, maybe they don't. Maybe they kind of get what's going on, but most of the time they don't, right? Because it's all 80-20 rule is what it really comes down to at the end of the day. 80% of your money is going to come from 20% of your board. I always like to joke, we have the A students, the B students, and the C students. And the D students, which we call dead wood, get them out. We don't need D students. There's no room for failure in this. This is the big A word that everyone's really, really scared about. They're uncomfortable with making that ask, and it's hard for them to really wrap their head around that. Now, if they are in business and they're just in finance, they're in real estate, they're whatever they are, they're in sales. Like, they know what the pitch is, they know what the sales are, they know how to do that. Maybe they're in operations, maybe they're in admin, maybe they get to have those wonderful HR conversations. Whatever it is, it's all about the sale, the closing it, the building that relationship with people. And it's not about asking for money. It's about building those relationships. It's not our job as fundraisers to make people care about your mission. That's not our job. It's our job to connect with people that connect to your mission, that they align your impact with their own legacy within their own life and their own life's purpose and kind of their own life story. And it's to attract those. So the more that we can share, the impact that we're having and how we're helping the world and all of these great things that we're doing, you're going to find those individuals that want to be there. They want to be a part of this and they want to help. If they don't, it's okay. There's another 1.5 million nonprofits out there that they can be involved with. But you want the people that are on your team to really be a part of your team and understand what the playbook is and understand what the strategy is and understand what the wins are and how to really get there. So there's three components to this. There's the before the gala. We have to can help the board to connect their why. Like, again, why? What's their legacy? Why are they there? Why are they investing their time in this? But then investing or connecting that why with their influence with their network, their influence with their neighborhood, their influence within their own business and their own company, but then also with all of their colleagues that are around with that. They are able to connect that influence, and then with that are able to bring it to the gala, and then they are able to be leaders in fundraising, because you have to have leaders. You have to have people that are ready to fundraise and ready to be a part of that. And then beyond the gala, the next morning is where the real fundraising begins. Like that next morning, that's where people are, really, really excited about the event. Many times they're really hungover after the event, and sometimes they wake up and like, what did I do? But it's that reinforcement of like, no, you were here. You were a part of something good. You were a part of something bigger than yourself. And it's really about connecting those communities together. Again, making connections, making relationships. And this is it. This is what the goal is, right? This is why we're in fundraising. This is why we're working for a nonprofit, is to create more impact. The more impact you want, or the more impact that you want to see in the world, how do we get that? How do we create that impact? What are the elements that, A plus B equals impact? What are the things that are involved in that? Come on.
For the event itself, you mean?
Or for everything. Because we got to have what? We got to have programs, right? You have to have people in the programs, right? And then you have to have the administration and make sure all the dots are crossed and all that. But what's the most important ingredient in all of that? Starts with a D. Money, or an M. Money, that's right. No money, no mission. And yes, I hate that this conversation is all about money, but it is about money. And it's our own perceptions as fundraisers about money. Many times we have different cultural beliefs or ideals or mindsets about money. And we have to be very careful about bringing that into the conversation with board members. Me, I'm a very frugal guy, but also, I like some of the finer things in life. And am I going to buy a $30,000 trip to Aruba? Probably not. Am I going to be raising my paddle at $25,000 at the event? Probably not. Will I someday? I hope I will, but that's not my realm. Like I'm not one of these millionaires that are out there that throwing $25,000 around is really like nothing. Like they might have a multi-100,000 or maybe even like a six-figure philanthropy budget. We can't judge their wallets is really what it's all about. Don't judge their wallets, and don't be afraid to ask big. Don't be afraid to ask bigger than what our own confines are or what our own mindsets are from that. We get to kind of put that off to the side and think bigger and think bolder and look at our donors and look at our board members as truly an unlimited source of funds, an unlimited source of resources. There isn't any limit. Our only limit is our own limits that we put within ourselves. There's a story that I like, and I like it so much that I had it tattooed on my leg. So has anybody ever heard the story about the elephant tied to the chair? Has anybody heard about that? Okay, so picture Dumbo. Dumbo's at the circus, and he's a little baby elephant, and he wants to be this big performing elephant and all of that. But he's a little baby, and they don't want him to run away. So, as the baby elephant, they tie him up to the chair, and as a little baby elephant, he can't move the chair. He's like, okay, I guess this is where I've got to be. This is as far as I'm going to be. And then, as the baby elephant grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and becomes this giant, big, multi-ton, like one of the strongest animals in the entire world. And he's got this rope on his leg, and he's still tied to the chair. And he's like, I can't leave this chair. I can't go anywhere. This is holding me back. This is what's anchoring me right here. But what's stopping that elephant from moving out in the world and being the best elephant that he can be? Is it the chair? Is it the rope? No, it's the idea behind he's restrained within that by these things that they really don't have anything control over those. So as we think about that, we have to look at, again, what are our own ropes from that, and it's just the mindset that's behind that. And like, let's cut the rope. It's just a little chair. We're able to go bigger, and we're able to go better, and we're able to create more impact is really what it's all about. So our first segment here, before the gala, who has a gala next week? Nobody. When's your gala?
My gala's in November.
Okay.
I have a big event
Oh.
Not a gala, but
big
close.
event next week.
Oh, okay.
Not my gala.
Okay, well, you have a big event. Okay. Anyone's gala coming up in the next 3 months? Okay, what date?
May 31st.
Okay, that's coming. Okay, when?
April 13th.
Oh, very soon. Like less than 30 days. No, like 3 weeks.
I know.
You're not stressed, are you? Nah. So wherever you are at before your gala, whether it's 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, wherever it's at, you can use all of these strategies that are with this. And I've got a special gift for you all to empower your board members a little later. Make it easy for you. So again, connecting the why of the board members. Why are they giving their most precious resource? Why are they giving their time? Why is being part of that organization important to their legacy? Kind of talked about that a little bit before. And helping them to prepare our elevator pitch. Who thinks their board members are spot on with the elevator pitch? Good. Okay. I love that. Good. And not all. Some. Okay, but those are the A students that are ready to go. And your A students can influence your B students, bring them up to A students, and all of that. So having this elevator pitch, getting that, it's something that's wired inside of them. Every time they're having a conversation with anybody, they're able to, or they're comfortable with sharing the organization that they love so much. It's like, I'm a part of this organization. They're doing great impact. This is this and this and this, and I want to invite you to our event. Why don't people go to events? Because they're not available. Okay, they're busy. And FOMO is a real thing. And there's so much stuff going on. There's a lot of distractions in this world. What else? What's another reason they don't go to events? They're not invited. Right? Like, I was in New York City last night with a friend of mine, and we're like, oh, we should be at a networking event. And there was a networking event in New Jersey right across the river, and I didn't know about it. Nobody invited me, and I would have gone if they would have invited me. Why else? They don't know. They don't think they're going to have any fun. They're like, this is a stuffy, boring, black tie gala, all that stuff. No, they are going to have fun. This is totally different than what they've ever experienced before. And they're also afraid that they're not going to know anybody. Yeah. So here is the chance. It's like, look, you're going to be able to come in, and I'm, as the board member, am able to connect you with so many people that are a part of this great organization. I've got some great board members that do some great things, and there's a chance to really network. And I'm going to personally invite you. I'm going to connect you with these individuals. I'm going to introduce you to the executive director and the development director and all these great people to where we can, have those community connections. And whether we're connecting within that network to only help the nonprofit, or maybe there's connections that come beyond that. Maybe there's a personal connection. Somebody finds a new best friend. Maybe there's a business connection that can come out of that, because network makes the dream work, right? Right. So here's this kind of the key sentence that your board members are going to be using. You're going to have so much fun. This is going to be great. Meet cool people while we're helping our community at large. We're helping to make an impact on XYZ. And you can't go. They can't go. They're busy. Here's how you can fundraise by them being busy. Well, if you can't make it, it's so, I'm so bummed. But I'd love to, still include you in our event. Would you be willing to make a donation? Oh, yeah, I'd make a donation. Well, guess what? Here, I got my cell phone right here, and I got the thing pulled up on here. Here, just type it in right here. And your board member can definitely do that and fundraise without actually getting people into the room. And there's many groups that I work with where the board members are out there in their community, and they're raising thousands and thousands of dollars that they're then able to bring to the event, in which now they are able to raise their paddles on behalf of their network. And so let's say they raise $5,000. Who could raise their paddle to the $5,000 level? And all of a sudden you have 3 or 4 board members raising their paddles because they leverage their network and were able to raise more money.
I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
Our board members are very passionate. They have all the tools that they need provided, from, I'm not the executive director, but I know our executive director provides them with it. I'm in development, and we provide them with it. And when they want to be advantageous, they are.
Nice.
But sometimes, probably because they are also busy in their personal lives. Or
It happens.
I'm not sure what else. They don't always follow through with stuff, I guess.
Well-intentioned.
Yeah. I don't want to say follow through. They're not purposely trying to not do stuff.
Life gets in the way.
We just want to encourage them to boost their sales. So we do a silent auction.
Yep.
And we also sell raffle tickets.
Yep.
And we want our board to sell raffle tickets.
Yep.
So we made it easy for them, provided them a QR code to send to their network.
Perfect.
And we gave this to them probably 3 weeks ago and said, please, sell the raffle tickets.
Okay.
And we even said, the person who sells the most by the state will get free admission to our event.
Something,
our
yeah.
Event is ticketed.
Yeah.
And no one sold any raffle tickets.
Okay, so the reason is, again, they have that rope, and they're kind of like, I don't want to ask anybody. But again, it's coming back and connecting their why, with that. I mean, they've already got the elevator speeches; they're ready to go. And a lot of times they don't look beyond that, or even it's just a raffle ticket. It's just $20. It's just $50. It's just $100. Whatever. It's like, well, no. If we can sell 100 tickets for $100, that's $10,000. $10,000 equals this, and this. And we have 10 board members. You have to sell 10 tickets. Come on. I don't care if you buy them yourself. You have to sell 10 tickets because what's going to end up happening is this is the result of that. Raffles have a place within events. Silent auctions have a place within events. It's like something to do. It's an easy entry level for donors to be able to come in, for new guests that are there to be able to come in, and kind of talking a little bit about the strategies. Like, this is why we do this. And again, you're giving your development why. Like, there's a method behind all of this madness. We're not just doing this to just do it. We're doing it to raise money, but there's a bigger strategy that's at play. So encouraging them. Let's make that ask. Let's practice the ask. Let's do some role playing. Pretend I'm a friend of yours. Let's we're at a networking thing. Hey, 60 seconds elevator pitch. We have this gala coming up. I want to invite you. Oh, you can't come. Make a donation. But it's also looking at who they're inviting to the event and who they're also inviting to their fundraising table, because each one of these seats has a dollar figure on it. How much is your ticket?
Right now they are 150, and then they'll increase to 200.
Okay.
In April. So they're even on like a
Sliding scale.
yeah. Discount right now.
Right,
and they
right.
Still, like, happen
How many people are going to be at your gala?
250.
Okay, so I'm just going to round up $200. Every chair is worth $200. 200 times 250 people, that's like $50,000, right? So if you don't have someone in this seat that's able to give beyond the $200 ticket, they're just there eating your food and drinking your drinks and wasting space and sucking up air. We need people in these seats that have capacity to give, that are able to write a check. Now, I know that we want to be inclusive and we want to bring the whole community in. Your gala is not the place for that. That's like the brunch, that's the picnic, that's the festival, that's the run, that's the whatever that is. But here, we're fundraising strategically within this, and we want to make sure that we have the right butts in these seats. Capacity, they have to be able to write a check well above and beyond what that ticket price is, but they also have that connection to the cause. We're connecting with people that are aligned with your mission, and then that's where the board members are able to take their connection, their why, connect it with their network who is interested. They're like, oh, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I'll come to the event. And then now they're in the seat. And now we inspire them, and then they raise their paddle, and they give us money, and then they're with us forever, right?
Yeah.
No, they're only with us for 1.7 years. But we're going to figure that out. So here is the kind of the techniques that we can encourage our board members to be able to help with this before the gala. It's like, okay, who do they know that might be connected to the cause? Who has similar affinities to them? Maybe it's you're an organization that serves kids. Maybe you're an organization that's protecting the planet. Maybe you're an organization that helps animals. Whatever it is, they know people that are in their network that are kind of like, oh yeah, no, I dig that too. Okay, yeah. So finding the people that are connected, that's number one. They have to care. Number two, then they have to have the means to give. They have to be in the certain tax bracket to have some type of philanthropic budget. Some philanthropic budgets are a little bit bigger than others, but it's not about the size of the gift. It's all about the donor, getting the donor in. Because again, we can't judge their wallets. Because what's happening here in the next 40 years? All the baby boomers are going to be dead. What's going to happen? Sorry to be so blunt, but they are going to be. And what's going to happen to their estates? It's going to get passed down. I think it's like, I heard the statistics, like $40 trillion is getting passed from the baby boomer generation to Gen X, to Gen Z, to millennials, and all of that. So now you're starting to look at multi-generational fundraising that's within this. Now, someone who's a zennial that makes a $100 donation at the gala, they're like, whoa, that's $100. That's a lot of money. But in 10 years, they could be multi-millionaires. And if they're with you that whole time, they're going to feel it and be like, yeah, I'm going to make a huge impact. I'm making a transformational gift. And it all started with that $100 donation, which we call test money. Next one, exposure. Share. We all got the social media these days. Everybody's, out there putting it on Facebook, Instagram, all of the things. Are your board members helping us with that?
Yeah, and so that's, I'm the community, like, that I am specifically communications, like, person on so I am in charge, like, our social media
Okay.
strategy is a part of my job.
Are you getting engagement from the board members?
It's hit or miss, so some board members are very engaged online and some are not.
Again, those are your A students,
Yeah.
and the ones that aren't. Yeah,
The ones that aren't, most likely they don't have social media, so I can't blame them for not being engaged on something they don't have.
but you know what's great? They still have a social circle.
Yeah.
So that again is the share is not necessarily only on social media. That's, again, within the networking events, within the parties, within that, and tapping into their social network.
I would say that's something our board members, at least I see them attempting it. If they don't have social media, they retired or still employed, they try to use their network to
Perfect.
advertise for us.
Yeah, be advocates for you, be ambassadors for you. Perfect. And that's what we're talking about, sharing. Share their why, share their passion. When they are sharing that, whether it's in social media, social networking, within society, they are going to then attract other individuals that like what they like. Because, I mean, like-minded people want to hang out with other like-minded people. So that's what they're trying to really encourage and become a magnet for those types of individuals. And then it's connecting their why, and that's that connection that we're making. We're connecting relationships that are there, and this is where I think is the kind of the disconnect between board members and fundraising is they're missing that connection of their why, their passion, their reason that they're there, the reason that they wake up in the morning, and then how that is connected then to the network, and then how the network is then connected to fundraising, and then how fundraising is then connected to impact. So it's always ending on the impact, and sometimes maybe rewind, like starting there. This is our mission. We love helping thousands and thousands of kids, and now let's rewind. Okay, fundraising, network, connections, event. This is where you fit within this, and sometimes they see the game plan and they're like, oh, I never thought of that. Again, board members just don't know what they don't know. That's not our fault. It's our duty, I guess, to help encourage them and to educate them and then to inspire them to go out and do hard things, right? It's fundraising is not easy. Sorry, you got to stretch a little bit. It's like working out. You got to kind of tear that muscle a little bit. You got to try something that you haven't tried before, and sometimes you fail, sometimes you don't. But you can't do it until you try. And we kind of talked about the ideal guest, the right person that's going to be the butt in the seat. Connection, capacity to give. So bringing the people to the table is really what it's all about. So now we are at the gala. It's Saturday night, and everybody's I know that's my favorite part. It's everybody's feeling good. We've got the people are coming in, they're registering, they're getting their paddles, they're finding their friends, and they're like, okay, let's get going. So I'm trying to rebrand what is the cocktail hour, because when we hear the word cocktail hour, we put that in our marketing. What do we think about, and what do our guests think about? Cocktails! We're going to have a good time. This is going to be a party. So we're striking the word cocktail. Now, this is the connection hour. This is where you're able to now empower and encourage your board members to be that connecting force within that. Now, not only are they going to connect with their network that's there, with all of those guests that they brought in, and thank you for coming, we love it, this is this, but it's also connecting them with individuals outside of the table. Again, the executive director, the development director, other board members, other people that are involved. Let's connect them with that. And in that hour, 90 minutes, that's what should be happening. But what's most important is I want your board members to meet 2 to 4 brand new people that they don't know, and walk right up to them and say the magic question. The magic question is, how are you connected to this cause? Or, hi, I'm Bobby D. I'm the board member. Thank you so much for coming. How are you connected to this cause? What brought you here tonight? And all of a sudden, now, the individual that also had this board member come up and introduce themselves to it, like, whoa, I kind of feel special. I had a board member come up to me and ask me how I'm connected. They're pretty cool. I really like them. And then now, here, let's connect you with other people. So really, making those connections that are happening, and that's how you're able to then build new relationships with your board members, that they're able to have conversations with new people, and they're encouraged. And now we're not asking them to fundraise. We're just asking them how they're connected, and then that builds a relationship. And then with those 2 to 4 people that they've just met, there's some, relationship cultivation within that, some development within that beyond the event. And they're able to help that. Who knows? They might make a new best friend. They might make a new business partner. Who knows? But that's where that connection comes from, and that's where they're going, beyond that. Be a welcoming host. Move around, get in the space. Don't just stand in that one corner with your friends. It's like the party. It's like, oh, we're having our own party here. Never mind the other 300 people that are hanging out there. Be out there. Be bold. Be encouraging. Be welcoming within that. And you got to get out there. Motion makes emotion. And you have to build that electricity within there. Again, the A students are going to do it, the B students, and the C students and the introverts. Not saying the introverts are C students. I'm an introverted extrovert, obviously. But it's inviting them to, again, kind of come out their comfort zone just a little bit. Like, look, we need you from 6 o'clock till 9:30 at night, and you're going to do something that is not easy. And it's only those 3.5 hours. You can go back to the cave after that, but here we are. We want to help you. We want you to help us within that. And in that, participate within the Connection Hour. Buy those raffle tickets. Be a part of that. Bid on the silent auction items. Get there, write on the paper, do the bidding on there. Connect with new people. Have fun. How many times have you seen board members at the event with RBF? It's fun. Come on, be happy. We're here. This is a chance for us to raise more money and make a huge impact on our mission and our organization. So have fun. And again, it's not about enjoying the party. It's not about getting drinks. It's not about taking advantage of the open bar. Strategy, creating new relationships and working together towards that common goal. We're all part of a big team. Sometimes board members understand, some examples. Like, look, we're all on the Kansas City Chiefs. No, we are on the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Go Eagles, woo! And there's not just one person that wins that game. There's 11 other people that are on the field. There's 90 players and coaches that are a part of that, and we're all working towards the common goal, to win, to hit the W. So as we're from the cocktail hour now, we move into the ballroom, and here we are with the ballroom, and everyone finds their seats, and they're mixing, and they're mingling, and it's time for the program. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down, and they're still mingling, and friends, please take your seats. It's time to start our event. They're still mixing and mingling. They're wasting time. They're wasting energy. They are being a distraction. We want them to be aware of what's happening. Before the event, who does a pre-event board meeting to kind of get them to understand what's going to happen? Good, you get a gold star. Everybody else should be having some type of meeting with your board, whether it's a Zoom, whether it's a video presentation you email out to them, a phone call, whatever it's going to be. This is what our program is going to look like, and this is how we want you to be involved. Connection Hour. Do this. In the program, be aware of what's going on. Be aware. Oh, this is the timeline. Oh, when we get into the room at 7:15, sit down. Get your guests to sit down. We're going to focus. Time is money. We only have so many minutes to be a part of this. And board members are a huge part of that program. And again, they're the leaders. When they sit down, oh, I got to sit down. When they raise their paddle, oh, I got to raise my paddle. When they're cheering, everybody else cheers. That's, again, where they get to use their influence. And as Connection Hour, they're meeting more people. They're letting people know that they are board members. A lot of times earlier in the program, we'll recognize who the board members are. Board members, please stand up if you're able. They stand up. Now everybody in the room knows who the board members are, and they're going to look to them. What are they going to do? How are they going to participate in this? They're active participants in this. They need to be in the moment. And again, be the energy, be that positivity. We're having fun. Put the FUN in fundraising and positivity. We're going to have a great night tonight. We're going to raise a record-breaking amount, and we're going to help so many because we are going to raise all this money at this. And by having, again, that mindset on the success, then that's what's going to breed success. And we want to help to create that. We want to help encourage that. We want to help to cultivate that. So letting them know that they are the energy in the room. Now, you could have the world's best fundraising auctioneer on stage, but if the people in the audience aren't into it and they're not engaged and they really don't care and it falls flat. I was in Milwaukee this past weekend. Big professional football player has this big multi-million-dollar gala and big auction and all this kind of stuff. They're helping kids with scholarships and because the guy was homeless when he grew up, and then he's like, how do I use my influence and my dollars to help make a difference? And The people that were in the room, all right, let's start to bid at 5,000. Crickets. Okay, 2,500. Crickets. Okay, let's go 1,000. And then we get going, and then we start to build a little bit of momentum. But there was way more money in that room than what we actually raised. There was billionaires. There was the guy that was the CEO of Jockey there. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Right on. Big fan. So like, I knew the money was there, but there was no energy in there. There was no engagement in there. There weren't the right butts in the seats. And that's going to be a part of the conversation. This is my first year with them. So we're going to make sure that we get the right butts in the seats and make sure those butts in the seats are energetic, they're ready to give, they're ready to be a part of this. And that starts, again, from the board. I met a lot of board members. I saw some board members that didn't raise their paddle. I'm like, well, why? Why? Well, we bought a sponsorship. Okay, great. And we bought a table. Okay, and no, do all of the things. That's why you're here. You're not just here to drink and eat and be merry. And here it is again, being the good leader. When it's time to raise the paddle, all right, friends, wherever they can give at, whether it's $10,000, $100,000, $5,000, $2,500, $500, $100, whatever, we want them to be engaged in this in some times. Show of hands, who has a give or get? 1, 2. Okay, good. So give or get, we all know what give or gets are, right? Oh, give or get. So a board member responsibility in a give or get, they either need to give $1,000 or whatever that is, or they need to get $1,000 from that. This is a great chance that they can do the give or get. If they do a year-end gift, this is a great time to give that gift. It's even a better time to give that gift because there's an old saying that I have: more paddles up equals more paddles up, and it's absolutely true. This happened in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a few weeks ago. Last year, we did an event. There's 350 people there. It was beautiful. It tasted good. It felt good. And we get to the paddle raise. We had 32 people of 350 raise their paddle in the paddle race. That's like 10% participation. That sucks. And I'm talking with my contact, the development director, and I'm like, our goal this year, okay, yes, we want to raise more money. We need more people raising their paddles in the fund of need. We need more people to be a part of that. And so this year, we were very strategic. We trained the board. We talked about all these things. I gave them this presentation. Like, this is your connection. This is your why. This is why we need you here. We need you to raise your paddle. And because we did that, we went from 32 people that raised their paddle to 84. The average gift went from $196 to $575. So do the math, right? And it is all because we had good leaders and every board member gave. Yeah.
I don't go into my event without telling my board that everyone has to raise the paddle, and they tell me.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I'm doing a paddle raise, my conversation with my board is, at what point are you raising your paddle?
Yes.
At what dollar
Yeah,
amount?
and not if.
Not if. When.
Yeah.
When.
When.
But I know exactly where each of them is going to wait. And if my top gift is $50,000, I know someone's raising their paddle.
Yes. Yeah, and you got to have that. That's best practice. You got to have whatever your lead gift is. Yeah.
So earlier you had said, like with the give or get, like, would it be a good practice? And if someone like gave a membership, a yearly membership, a board member, and then also gave to the annual fund every year, would you tell them, like, how about you wait until, like, let your annual gift be the paddle raise?
You could.
Okay.
You could. Or you could have that paddle raise be a representation of their gift that they make at the end of the year.
Okay.
So with this art museum that we worked with, all of the board members gave, but we had a whole list of pre-secured gifts. I mean, I think she had 75% of our total fund of need was pre-secured gifts. We knew donors were going to raise their paddle at whichever levels it was. And it was very sneaky the way that we did this. So instead of regular numbers, we usually have the first two numbers of which table number they're at, whatever. But we had 800 numbers. So it was 812, 874, whatever that was. And then when I saw a 800 number go up, I'm like, oh, that's a pre-secured gift. Okay, I know that. And then as we're tracking it, then we can truly see how many gifts we have in the room. Now, the 82 gifts were not only pre-secured gifts. It was beyond that. We had 82 additional gifts beyond the pre-secured gifts. And then again, we had people that can't be there. Well, here we go. We would love to encourage, we would love to invite you to be a part of our fund of need. We want you to be a part of our call to action, our paddle raise. Can we raise your paddle on your behalf? And that's another great way to do it for board members that can't come or their guests or whatever. Let's raise the paddle on your behalf and thank them for not. Don't thank them for being there, but thank them for being a guest and being a part of our fund of need. The next piece of that is bid in the auction. I want every card in the air, as many cards in the air when I start that bid at $1,000. All right, let's practice. All right, who give $1,000? Everybody $1,000. Thank you. 2, 3. Everybody get 3,000. 4, 3,500. Thank you. 4,000. 5,000. Everybody get 5, 6. Now all the cards are down. That's okay, because we went from 1,000 to 6,000 in like 3 seconds. And with that, if you're using a professional auctioneer, they will identify who is the real player at that time. Now, I don't want board members to bid the items up if they're not in the place to buy them. But I do want those paddles up when we start the first bid, whatever that is. And again, more paddles means more paddles. More activity means more emotion, means more electricity. It creates that in that room, and that's what you're really trying to get. So I want them to bid in the auction. Yes, I want them to win the trip to Aruba. If they don't, that's okay. But they help to raise money without spending any money. They love that. And I always say there's ways to engage board members that's way more valuable than writing a check. And when they hear that, you know how happy they get? They're like, really? I don't have to write an extra check? Yeah, you just need to help us. Make connections. Get the right people in the room. Be active. And again, be aware when it's time to be quiet for the video or for the emotional appeal. Friends, this is the most important time of the night. They're quiet. They quiet their table. They quiet those around them. They get everyone focused on the screen. They're aware of what's going on. This is our golden goosebump moment. We need to have everybody focused at this time. When it's time to be quiet, be quiet. When it's time to get loud and have a good time, everybody, we're having a good time tonight. Woo! Yes, we are. Sold that auction item. Yay! Oh my gosh, friends, we just had another $50,000 gifts. Give them a big round of applause. They're a part of that cheerleading process. They're there to really encourage that. They're able to go out and celebrate the generosity. Thank you so much, Maureen, for raising your paddle. And it could be just sitting, at another table. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. They become ambassadors for that. Oh my gosh. Sabrina, thank you for buying that auction item. You're going to have so much fun. Oh my gosh, everybody, thank you. That's so great. And they're able to get up and go and say thank you. Handshake, fist bump. There was one organization that I worked with that had they did a hug-a-thon after someone bought an auction item. Like they had a whole team that came out and showered them with love. There's other times like you'll come out and bring them a basket of wine, and they'll have the photographer there to take a picture with their paddle for their social media, and then they'll shoot off confetti cannons, and it's all super fun. But that is, again, celebrating the generosity of what has just happened. And when donors, especially new donors, get that instantaneous gratitude, how good do they feel? Right? It's gratitude all the way through that, which is then going to connect the donors and your guests closer to your mission. And they're like, wow, they made me feel special. Does anybody know how many nonprofits are in Philadelphia? A lot. Maybe like at least more than 10,000, I'm sure. So you all are competing with these 10,000 organizations that are probably having events. And if you're going to do something that's different than those 10,000 organizations, guess what? You stand out. You're able to now attract more donors to that and maybe attract them away from other. Now, it's not competitive. Everybody can give. There's enough money out there in the world. But what we're really trying to do is stand out and be different than everyone. We want you to stretch a little bit. And this is just such an easy way to do it. Someone raises their paddle, a board member walks up and shakes their hand. Thank you so much for doing that. That makes a huge difference for our organization. So celebrating the generosity immediately, and then this is pretty much where we're now moving into the rest of the conversation. It's all about this generosity and really celebrating what has happened. Because when a room comes together as a community and does something amazing, how good does that feel? That feels really good. And that's what people are looking for. Like, that's what they expect. They want to be inspired after the event. They want to be more involved after the event. But if you're having a boring, old, just event, they're not. They're going to remember that. But if this gratitude and this generosity is the last thing that they feel on the way out, they're going to remember that forever. I always like to consult with my clients and create what we call a surprise and delight piece at the end of the event. Now, perfect example is this. At the valet, people are valeting their cars. Inside the car is a couple fresh baked cookies and a thank you note from the kids. Thank you so much for giving at our gala. Another group, we work with the National Children's Chorus, and we do, they do only paddle raises, no silent auctions, no nothing, just paddle raises at their events. And we do one in Texas, we do one in New York, and we do one in LA. And we have the paddle raise, and that happens. And then at the end of the night, everybody's given. It's like, all right, friends, if you would, please reach under your chairs, and there's something special for you. And they pull it out, and it's a thank you note from the kids in the chorus. Thank you for supporting our chorus. Thank you for helping me sing. And everyone's like, oh, that's right? Right? Leaf, you're like, oh my God, my heart just melted. And when your donors see that and they feel that, that's what they're going to remember of your event. They're not going to remember how wonderful the rubber chicken was. They're not going to remember how terrible your auctioneer was. They're not going to remember all of these elements that were there. But they're going to remember that little surprise that you took some time and some effort to put out there. So here we are after the gala. And again, this is our biggest moment to really set yourself up for success beyond the event. And it's starting with that gratitude, and it's those thank yous. I'll make sure that the slides go out too. So Penelope Burke, who's familiar with Penelope Burke's work? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a textbook you all need to get. Penelope Burke, she's written so many books. It's called Donor-Centric Fundraising. And Penelope's a good friend of mine. I love her, all of her presentations that I can ever see. I have to go because she's like the most dynamic, funny speaker ever, especially when it comes to fundraising. Her organization did a study after an annual appeal campaign year over year. So they had a test group where they had the appeal go out, and then the normal tax letter went out, and then they measured the second gift that came in, and then they measured or how many second gifts came in, and then how big the second gifts were beyond, or the first gift. And what they found out from the test group to the group where they made it mandatory for board members to then actually pick up a phone and call the donor and thank them for giving. Now, you can leave a message. It's just as effective. The percentage growth rate of second gifts ended up being like 85% or like that. And so they have more people come in and give second gifts. And then the second gift being higher than the first gift, 92% of the time, it was bigger. And all the board members had to do was pick up that little computer in their pocket and call people and actually talk on the phone and leave a message. Hey, this is Bobby D, board member of XYZ organization. Thank you so much for coming to our gala and raising your paddle. Thank you so much for coming to our event and buying that auction item. Thank you so much it was great to meet you. Remember those 2 to 4 people that we want them to? We want them to call them anyways. And that's all you had to do. Get their number, call them. I mean, you're going to have their number anyways because you've got registration, and then here, Bill, call Sarah. Sam, call Tina, however it is. So they're going to call these new people and actually just use the phone. So what's going to end up happening is your organization is going to stand out beyond every other organization. So when do you call? What they found is within 24 to 48 hours after the event is most effective. Kind of that hangover time. Sunday morning, everybody's kind of lounging around. They're, having a Bloody Mary. They're hydrating, and whatever they're doing. Just pick up that phone, and here, you, as the development friends and our event friends, can then provide them with 3, 5, 7, 10 names to just give them a call. Who's going to answer their phone on a Sunday afternoon? Nobody. And that's okay. Leave the message. That's all you can do is just leave the message is as effective. And then the donor picks, like, oh my God, the board member called me and thanked me for coming last night, raising my paddle. Oh, I love them. I love them. All right, let's put them in the will. So that's what they're looking for. Call, text, email. We want them to then share photos if they're active on social media. Take those photos, selfies, hashtags, videos, Instagram, TikToks, all of the things. We want them to be participating in that. Now, the reason I say that, again, we have multi-generational fundraising that's happening. We call it Generation Blend. So again, you have baby boomers. They're not going to be on Facebook. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But then you move down Gen X, millennials, and we're all into that. I shot a video right here this morning, first thing to do, and I'm going to share that because it's like, here, this is where I am. This is who I am. This is what I do. And I'm able to then share this, and now I have a giant nonprofit network, and they're like, what's the Nonprofit Learning Lab? Oh, let me check more about this. I want to learn more. So this is a chance for them to see that. Same thing with your organization. Their friends are going to see that on social media like, wow, that's great. And then for those that aren't, and they're just tied into their in-person social networks, hey, look, I was at this gala. Look at this cool time. We had such a good time. Oh my gosh, look at this. And then having the professional photographer, if you can pay them a little bit more money, you don't have to pay them a lot more money, they can turn those pictures around like that. And then now that sneaky pool is that you're going to be able to encourage your board members to find their friends within that and then email those photos directly to them. Because everybody spends this time and energy to get beautiful for the event, and then there's a photographer that makes them look great. They want to be able to put that out there or even have that photo. And this is a great way that you can do it. There's a group that we work with that actually does day of turnaround. Like they have someone working the computer, they have a couple people working the camera, and then they'll put the photos up on the wall. They'll give the printed photos on the way out, and then the next morning those photos are going out to everyone as a development tool. So sharing, using that cell phone, using that thing. So now post-event strategies. We want to make sure that they are strategizing with you. What is your post-event gratitude plan? You had the event. You raised a whole bunch of money. Now what? What are we going to do? How are we going to say thank you? How are we going to re-engage them beyond the event? How are we going to get them to be involved beyond the event? What are we going to invite them to? Are we going to invite them to coffee? Are we going to invite them for a tour? Are we going to invite them to meet one of our participants? What are we going to do? And have that strategy ready so that they know what that is. And maybe they can be a part of that conversation. Maybe they can be a part of that coffee meeting, whatever it is. But we want to make sure that they understand what your strategy is moving beyond the event. And that is inviting them to be more involved, these guests. And that's such an easy invitation for a board member. Just say, Stephanie, you had a great time at our event. I'd love to have you join me on a tour. I mean, there's this space, like, it captures my heart. I love it. There's so much good stuff in there. Would you come on a tour with me? Sure, I would. Right. And they're not asking for money. They're just asking to come hang out with them. Come see it. I'm passionate about this. I want you to see it. And then after you're on the tour, you're like, oh, I love this. Here's $1 million. So that's that invite to be more involved. And that's where your board members can really help with that. And then again, don't want to ask. This is why I love this organization. This is why it gets me up in the morning. This is why I'm a part of the board. And I want to connect you to our development director to give you some more information, to help you understand a little bit, answer your questions. And then they get to make the ask for the fundraising and all that kind of stuff. But we definitely want to keep those connections growing. And then 1 year, you're going to have board member with their table. Everybody's going to raise their paddle. There's going to be somebody at that table that's going to be a rock star, and they're the ones that made a significant donation. So now you have that person that made a significant donation. You know what? Let's kind of peel them off of the pack. You know what? Would you be able to fill a table? Would you be able to tap into your network? So now board member A has a new table, brings in new people, and then now donor that gave money is going to have their own table with their own network. And then year 3, year 4, year 5, if you're following that strategy, all of your tables are filled with rock stars. All of your tables are filled with people that understand what your strategy is. So that's where keeping the connections growing. And again, we're throwing the big boulder into the pond. It's making the giant ripple. Well, in this case, we're not. We're throwing like handfuls of rocks, and all of these ripples are going everywhere, and they're really cross-pollinating within all of them. They're crossing through it. And that's how the connections get going. So this is really easy. You can ask the board members, and when I do this at a board meeting, the faces of the board members are so funny because they're like, what kind of student am I? And they kind of know, because this is totally tongue-in-cheek that, hey, you're a C student, you're kind of sitting there taking up space, offering some, feedback, some different things, but they know who they are. But I want them to just do one of these past things that we had. Just one. Just be uncomfortable for just one thing. And that's all we want. If it was one thing of the entire thing, I would say that call after the event would probably be the most important. And then B student, here, pick 3 to 5 of these. Let's do some more. Let's kind of do one before the event. Let's do one at the event. And then let's do one beyond the event. Just try it. Just see what happens. And then A student, do as many as they can. If they want to be A+ student and get the gold stars, I'll have a checklist that you all will be provided with, and that's one of the tools that we'll have. Have them go down the checklist and do everything. And if they do everything, I can guarantee that your bottom line at your event will grow. not by 5%, not by 10%, 25, 50, could be 100% with as many engaged board members that we have. Now, if you have one, it'll grow a little bit. But let's say if you had 10, 20, 30 board members that did all of this stuff, like how fast would your network grow? How fast would the connections grow? And how fast would the bank account grow? Very fast. And it's just having them to do these. And did we ask them? Well, we asked them one time to write a check. But they have to write the check anyways, or they were going to write the check anyways. And then the rest of these things, these other 15, 18, 20 things that are there, they don't have to write a check. They just have to be a little bit uncomfortable, try something new, put themselves out there a little bit, and then just make connections. That's all we're looking for. That's all we want them to do. So you can ask your board members, and if you need to steal this slide, you could totally put this up and be like, hey guys, which kind of student do you want to be? You know, I went to ASU, C's for degrees. They don't put that on your GPA on your diploma, thank God. But there's those that are like those type A personalities that are like, no, I have to get an A. I have to get an A+. I have to, you know, my GPA needs to be 4.25. It has to be that. So good, let's empower them. And then let's encourage our B students to try it. And then now after all of this, now here's where then you get to measure the metrics. Look at the engagement rate. How many people raise their paddle in the paddle raise? What was your average gift in your paddle raise? Your live auction totals. What was your live auction total last year? What was your live auction total this year? Silent auction, same thing. What was the, what was the amount you raised last year? What was the dollars per item? What was the final total? How many new people that came to the event that were brand new, that transformed? This is why I love events. This is a chance, and this is why I love paddle raises, because this is so easy to be able to transform a guest into a donor. Real quick story. We had a national organization we were working with. There was this one individual, high net worth, big bucks, and he kept coming to the event because he was a guest of one of the board members. But the last 2 years, he never raised his paddle. He never gave. They could never touch him. They didn't have his contact info. They had no reason, no way to get in touch with this gentleman. So then we come in and we have this fun little game where we call it last donor giving or last paddle up or something like that. And we usually give away a giant bottle of champagne. Sometimes we give away a trip, something like that. And whoever the last person to make a donation is the one to win. But what's most important about that is that people are raising their paddles. And then this individual is very competitive and he wanted to win. And he raised his paddle like 3 or 4 times. He didn't win, but he still gave $300-400. And then what happened because he did that? There you go. Moved from that moment, transformed from a guest into a donor. The next year, he brought his company to the table because of proper stewardship all the way through as a corporate sponsor. The next year, he came in and made a $50,000 match for the paddle raise within 3 years from a $100 donation from a guy raising a paddle. And that was it. So that's the strategy behind all of these elements that are there, the raffle, the silent auction, the live auction, and the paddle raise, to make more connections, to build your network, to build your relationships that are there. And then ultimately, A plus B equals impact, fundraising. Fundraising fuel goes in your nonprofit machine, and then out the other end spits impact. So let's get them all connected here. And back to why we all do this. Again, your passion changes the world. And I'm going to ask you, how big a rock do you want to throw in the pond? Maybe one and kind of do one of these, or do you want to throw, again, a handful of boulders in there and make giant waves all across? All right, so here we go. As a special thanks, we've added some resources for you. I have 3 resources that are in there. If you scan this QR code, you sign up for our email list. We're not going to spam you. We never spam. Like, my wife and I are in business together, and she hates spam. She's like, I don't want to do a newsletter because I don't want to spam. I'm not going to spam anybody. We're going to provide resources and invite people to listen to our podcast, let them know what's going on, other events. We do webinars, all the different kind of things. So in there's going to be 3 different downloads. The download number 1 is the board member checklist. Like, if you were going to download any of that, use that, bring it into the board meeting, pass that out to the board members, and be like, look, this is what we're going to do. If you want, you can then take the slides, use all these slides, give your own presentation. If you want me to give a presentation, I'm more than happy to that. I'm totally cool being the third-party guy and kicking their ass. I'm totally cool with that. So if you need some help with that, please let me know. And then we also have how to hire a fundraising auctioneer, and then also the gratitude process is in there too. And that might give you some new ideas. That might give you some things that you can bring to the table to help you, again, ultimately make a bigger impact. So yeah, here we are. Gratitude checklist, board members, superpowers, all of those things right there. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, hello again there, everyone. Thank you so much for watching that presentation. It's so great to see the feedback that came from those individuals that were in the room that chose to take part in my session. And a lot of the great questions that came out that were like, oh, that's not how our board would do it, or yeah, our board would never do that, or our board's too shy to do that. Well, friends, if you have that type of board, I think it's time to talk to leadership, those that are leading this, your CEO, your president, your director. You might even be those. And then if that's the case, then talking to your board chair and talking about your fundraising strategy throughout the year, and not just only the event. And all of your board members really need to be, they all need to buy into that. And if they're not buying in, well, get them out and find those that will. So thanks again, everybody, for listening to Heart of the Gala podcast right here on everywhere you can find podcasts, and on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and all the things. Again, my name is Bobby D with Heart of the Gala podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at Bobby D Auctioneer. Follow me on TikTok at Bobby D Auctioneer. Follow us on TikTok, couple of auctioneers. And then don't forget to follow my lovely co-host and wife, Erin, at Gala Auctioneer, at Star Auctions, and follow us at I Inspire Hearts all over the place. Well, thank you again, everybody, for being so awesome, and happy weekend to you. And please go out and impact the world in your own awesome way. And you can raise more money at your event, and you can have a better event. I know you can do it, and I know you want to do it. We're all going to do it together. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.